Hi everyone, we are making a video of the quick setup guide for Nexus DSC as some people prefer this format. When you get your Nexus DSC, here's what you get in the box. You get Nexus DSC in a smaller box. You get the USB charge cable that's used to charge it from a standard USB power adapter. You also get a charge cable to charge it from a car or from a power bank, from a cigarette lighter pod. You also get the user manual and a quick setup guide. If you ordered Nexus DSC with the optional power adapter, then you also get a power adapter, international power adapter with multiple blades for various countries and its main unit. This is used to charge Nexus DSC from a power point. Inside Nexus DSC box, you get Nexus DSC, a warranty card, and you also get an adapter card from a microSD to a standard SD card. Once you unpack Nexus DSC from its box, you will notice that there is a protective film on top of the Nexus DSC screen, and we advise it to peel it off because then it will be much clearer to see the screen in the dark. You can either use it your nail or you can help it with a plastic spatula. Once you unpack everything, we suggest to charge Nexus DSC, and the easiest thing to do is to charge it from a standard USB power adapter similar to this. This one comes with iPad, and we use the USB charge cable. We plug the flat connector into the USB power adapter, and the DC plug goes into Nexus DSC. Please be careful, never try to charge Nexus DSC through the USB, only through the DC jack on Nexus DSC. Once you charge your Nexus DSC, turn it on. Then we go to settings and we need to set the time and date. The time and date is set automatically, but you still need to set the time zone. And here in Sydney it is +10, so we set it to 10 plus, and we leave GPS sync on. Then we press OK, and then we need to wait until it gets a GPS fix. You can check if it got a GPS fix by going to Info and then to GPS. And you can see that currently there is one satellite in view, and the coordinates, the location is all zeros, and the GPS fix is not present. It usually takes around 30 seconds to 1 minute to get a GPS fix. As you can see, now we got a GPS fix, and satellites in view currently 22 satellites, and your location will be shown here. And as you can see, this is non-zero. Then the next thing we will do, we will set the Wi-Fi settings to be on by going to Settings, Wi-Fi, and then we need to switch from Disabled to Access Point. And by default, this is configured to communicate using LX200 protocol, and you can just leave it set to LX200. Once we press OK on this third page, the Wi-Fi will be on and you can connect your smartphone or a tablet or a laptop to Nexus DSC. If you want to make sure that the Wi-Fi is working, you can go to Test and then Wi-Fi, and as you can see, the IP address is 10.0.0.1. This indicates that the Wi-Fi is on and you can connect your phone or a tablet to Nexus DSC. The next step is to set the encoder steps for your telescope. We will be using RON Astronomy AZ100 mount, and we need to go to Settings, Telescope, and as you can see, by default, Nexus DSC uses 10,000 steps for each encoder. So we press the right arrow key, and as you can see, the Adjust button on the screen is flashing. We press OK, and then we go and change the encoder steps. Encoder steps for AZ100 should be set to 152,000. And now we set the altitude encoder steps. And then we press OK again, and it saves those settings. We go just to make sure that everything is correct. We go to Test, Encoders. Then we change the altitude up, and as you see, the number on the right is increasing. Then we need to rotate clockwise, and you see the number on the left is also increasing. And counterclockwise, it should be decreasing. If any of this is going in the opposite direction, then you need to go back and change the signs in front of the corresponding encoder steps. But in this particular configuration, both of the encoder steps should have a positive sign, plus 152,000. As you can see, I set up a telescope on AZ100 mount, and now we will do the two-star alignment. First thing we do, we set the telescope pointing vertically, and then we go to Align Altitude Reference, and the scope should be pointing plus minus 5 degrees from a vertical position. Once you do that, we press OK, and then we select the first alignment star. For tonight, we use Gina, and it is currently located at approximately 67 degrees in altitude and 311 degrees in azimuth. So what we need to do, we need to point the scope at Gina and center it in the eyepiece. If you have a reticle eyepiece, then it is best to use one with a reticle. If you don't use a scope with a reticle eyepiece, then you can use high power eyepiece and defocus the star image until the diffraction picture takes most of the field of view, and that way it is much easier to center. So we just move to Gina, and once it is pointing at Gina, we press OK. Then we select the second alignment star, and the second alignment star for tonight we use Acrab, and it is currently located at approximately 52 degrees in altitude, and it is a good enough separation in azimuth, though we usually suggest to use stars that are separated by at least 60 degrees, but best it is to use two alignment stars separated by 90 to 180 degrees. Acrab is currently at 77 degrees in azimuth, so it is a really good separation. So now we move to Acrab, and again we center the star into eyepiece, and once it is in the center we press OK, and Nexus DSC report that successfully aligned, and now we can use Nexus DSC to locate objects. We press escape twice, and then we go to menu find from catalog, and if you want to locate some messy objects, we can use its index, and currently the index for Messier catalog is 36. So we just type 36, and as you can see, Messier is selected. Press OK, and then we can go and find some Messier objects. So if we want to see M3, then we need to move until the azimuth becomes close to 0. Then it shows us that we need to move down 25.5 degrees in altitude. And once those numbers are close to 0, you can look through the eyepiece, and it will be in the eyepiece. First we need to go to settings on the iPad and then select Wi-Fi, and as you can see in the list of available networks we connect to Nexus DSC. Once it is connected, we switch to SkySafari, and we need to make some changes here as well. So we select settings, and then we go to telescope setup, and the scope type we select mid LX200 classic. Mount type we select alt azimuth go to, even though it is a push to mount. Then we need to change port number from 4030 to 4060, and we change the readout rate to the maximum 10 per second. We touch done, and we go to the main screen of SkySafari. We bring up the telescope control panel by touching the scope icon. And after that, we press connect, and then a telescope cursor appears on the screen. And as you can see, with the scope pointing to M3 on the screen, it is also pointing very much at the M3. Now we go to Nexus DSC and we switch find mode from catalogs to from planetarium. Then let's say we want to select another object in SkySafari and find that object using Nexus DSC. So let's say if we want to find M53, we select M53 and then we hit Go To button in SkySafari. And as soon as we hit the Go To button in SkySafari, if you look at Nexus DSC screen, the numbers will change. And now if you move 9 degrees up and approximately the same in altitude, you will see that they are pointing at M53. These are all the main steps that you need to take to start using your Nexus DSC. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, just contact us, or you can download the quick setup guide from our website. Thank you for watching.